You're on call 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year.
You can have a month and a half with nothing, and then you can get 3 calls in 3 days. We were called out last year to about 50 incidents in the year, so that's an average of weekly.
A lot of it is mental health related that we look for people. Very rarely actually find somebody that is alive and we bring back. It's normally a recovery.
The call-outs they're so different. One day you could get someone who's gone over on their ankle, and the other day you could get something completely different. So it's learning to adapt to these situations. We do have quite intensive training, but there's some instances you just can't be trained on until you're actually on the field.
It's usually those rescues where they're really long. I remember them the most because they've taken maybe all night into the early hours of the morning, and we're still there as a team working together, despite getting more and more tired, more fatigued.
It's not going to suit everybody. And what I do as a membership secretary is try to put people off. I don't try to encourage them. I try to say, you're going to come across deceased people, you're going to, deal with mental health difficulties, you're going to, it's physically hard, it takes a lot of your time, it costs some money.
When you get a person into the back of the ambulance and they look at you and they smile at you and say thank you, it means the world. You really feel that you've helped somebody on a really difficult day, and you've been able to do the best that you can for them.
Everybody has a story. Why they join search and rescue. My own story would be that I have somebody close to me that has mental health issues that rang me in 2 o'clock in the morning on a footbridge over a railway saying, this is it. But thankfully, because I'm a mental health first aider, I had put a plan in place for them that if they were going to do something, that they would ring me first, that I could talk them down. And that's what makes me sad about when you make a find, because obviously that person didn't have that plan. And that's sad. That's what makes me, if somebody had just taken the time to say, what is your plan? Can I be part of it? That you just make that phone call, because that'll break that cycle of, I'm going to complete this.
You always will check in with somebody if they've had a difficult situation. You're always ready to say, we understand if you can't do something, or this is too much for you for whatever reason. And because we're a team, you'd always find somebody else then that would do it. I mean, if it's physically, you can't pick up a stretcher because you happen to have got a sore arm, or because you can't cope with a difficult situation you're coming across, maybe it's flashbacks for you, or you would just tell somebody and they would just support you and you'd step aside.
I'm a woman with a transgender history, which means I sometimes see differences more than others do. I do get talked over. It is sometimes difficult to maintain my position because that's something I wasn't used to before I transitioned. But it does happen, and I'm very aware of it. I've also observed unwitting sexist behaviour and called it out before. I've had no issues as a woman or a transgender woman with not being accepted, but sometimes you do have to fight to hold your own.
I've been fundraising and I've had members of the public come up, and a man actually asked me and said, I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but are you actually mountain rescue?
Again, not hard and fast.
I think that there is a perception that it's more of a thing for men, and we have been trying in this team actively to change that. There is an image problem in that pictures frequently are of men, and I have taken this up with our team's social media and our group on a number of occasions, and I know some of the other ladies in the team have, that photographs tend to be male-centric, and I think that has an impact.
I think it helps to have representation, so the more role models that you see who are like yourself, the better. And that speaks for anyone. Like, every human wants to feel a sense of belonging, so the more women that we see in mountain rescue and search and rescue, the better.
Start feeding it through. So the important thing here is that you are feeding it through your hands.
It's tough. It is tough because take the dog team, it's all male, there's no other females. So it is tough going into that environment because you want to not disrupt the balance, because they have this male banter going on where, yeah, you don't want to disrupt it, but you try and you do want to change their attitudes a bit. They're lovely guys. They don't see what they're doing is not correct, or that it could hurt people's feelings. They're good guys. If I say to them, I don't want you talking like that, they'll say, yeah, fine, But I think where I find it most is on searches. Men can, if they need a break, they can go behind a tree and have a break, where women just can't do that. And that's where I find it really hard. Or it might be a certain time of the month for some people. Again, that's another thing that, we can't do out in the open. It's also a lot of women, especially of our age, we're going through menopause. That's a big thing that is, when we say to the guys, need a bit of a break here, it's like, oh yeah, menopause, or with the eye roll and stuff like that. We need to change the way things are, but there's so few of us. It's taken time, and it's a hard slog to change attitudes as well.
I find it's about chin height, so the ends on there.
I've learnt a lot. I was very, very limited in my experience when I joined Mountain Rescue in comparison to how I am now. So I think almost take that away. You don't have to be the finished product. You can just join and learn as you go. And if you're supported by colleagues like I am, then you can do anything.
I find it's about chin height,
When I joined this team, I was a little bit concerned about whether I would be included or not, but I've applied for all the things that I've wanted to do, and I've been lucky enough to get them.
Women can do anything that we do in this team. It's everything to do with capability.
Go, Miranda, go! Go, Miranda!
There's so much you can go and do out there, but you've got to have that sort of inner belief in yourself to be able to do it.